Hello everyone and welcome back to the Black Football Club for volume 22 of my Liverpool Football Club, the Retro Series. This 20-second trip in our retrospective time machine takes us to an Anfield of 4 decades ago and a recession and riots era city of deep industrial and societal unrest amid historic levels of unemployment and a Saturday afternoon attendance of just 28,286. From on high the pitch, as it always did, appears pockmarked with umpteen patches of what appears to be snow, but which was actually individual piles of sand to aid a failing drainage system that barely helped as the pitch, as it always did, cut up in large chunks. Rewatching these games, I continue to be astounded that the players and stars of yesteryear managed to play such thrilling football on a surface such as this, and a surface light years away from the perfect, fast, snooker table green of modern football today. But play, they most certainly did. Managed by ex-Manchester United manager Dave Sexton, today's visitors from Coventry City were swept aside in just over half an hour of a one-sided contest that was over way before the shrill of the referee's whistle for half-time, and which condemned the Light Blues to another in a long line of defeats, as well as continuing a winless run stretching back over 2 months. 5 years away from their ultimate club triumph at Wembley and the beating of Tottenham Hotspur in the 1987 FA Cup final, none of today's team would feature all those glorious years later, but notably, Danny Thomas would play in a historic triumph himself, ironically for Tottenham Hotspur in 1984 and after leaving Coventry. Veteran Gerry Francis marshalled their midfield today before high-profile managerial stints, Tottenham Hotspur included, and their central striker and number 9 Mark Hateley would outstrip his own father with his achievements soon after leaving the Light Blues of Coventry. Hateley's father played, ironically again, for Liverpool in the 1960s, however his son would soon force a move to the darker blues of my hometown city of Portsmouth, before gaining both an England place and a shock move to AC Milan, before terrorising defences in Scotland for Rangers after his move back from Italy. The Reds of Liverpool came into this game on the back of 2 successive shock defeats, Chelsea and Swansea City, but would suffer only 2 more defeats all season and in all competitions, on the way to lifting the League Cup at Wembley in just 3 weeks' time, ironically again by defeating Tottenham Hotspur, and the Division 1 title later in May. Today they were unchanged, again, and with a team that will roll off the tongue of Reds fans around the world. Zimbabwean Bruce Grobbelaar was cementing his place as the Reds' new goalkeeping custodian. Ronnie Whelan was very definitely nailing down a deserved midfield slot in the starting 11, and an equally fresh-faced Ian Rush was having the season manager Bob Paisley had the faith that he always would, as his 20 goals and counting ensured a place at number 9 alongside striking partner Kenny Dalglish. Surrounding these relative new boys, it was 1982 after all, were all-time greats in defence, Alan Hansen, Alan Kennedy, Phil Neal and Mark Lawrenson, and Graham Souness, Terry McDermott and Sammy Lee in the engine room of the midfield. In truth, Coventry City barely posed an attacking threat all game, and aside from an incorrectly disallowed goal from Gary Thompson, but they were losing 4-0 at the time, and a rush challenge from Bruce Grobbelaar just outside the penalty area on Steve Hunt, the highlights show no further attacking intent from the visitors at all. On the other side of the ball, the Reds were 2-0 up in 13 minutes, 3 goals to the good just after the half-an-hour mark, before a 64th minute penalty put a resounding seal on an emphatic win. The 4-0 scoreline could and should have been doubled, and had it not been for the fine goalkeeping display from Jim Blythe in the visitors' goal, it might have been. Aside from the goals themselves, Blythe was forced into goal-saving measures on numerous occasions, and especially so in a first half that saw him concede 3 goals, but it could so easily have been 6 or 7. Sammy Lee and Graham Souness hounded the Coventry midfield into conceding early minute possession of the ball, before Souness's quick pass gave his Scotland teammate Kenny Dalglish a sight of goal, but his shot was easily saved by Blythe. Souness and Lee would conspire again, this time with Terry McDermott and Ronnie Whelan too, as the four of them swept the ball cross-field before McDermott's incisive lob set Dalglish free just inside the penalty area. Following Souness's tackle to win the ball in the first place, Whelan, Lee and McDermott cycled the ball with precise and quick first-time passes that Dalglish controlled and turned with the ball in an instant, before a rather tame shot spoiled a brilliant footballing move and provided another relatively easy save for Blythe in the Coventry goal. By this point the Reds were already 3-0 up, purring and continually attacking with intent. Alan Kennedy was fouled repeatedly by Jerry Francis and David Bradford, yet skipped away from the challenges, with the referee waving "play on" before his infield pass was controlled perfectly into a running shot from Graham Souness, which stung the hands of Blythe. The half-time advantage of 3-0 could easily have been doubled. The second half was all the masterly work of Kenny Dalglish, his Scotland roommate Graham Souness and birthday boy Phil Neal. As you'll read shortly, Dalglish won a ridiculously skillful penalty and was a constant buzzing pest in attack for a Reds team intent on scoring more than the single second half goal they actually did. His persistence led to a brilliant 1-2 pass with the now 31-year-old Phil Neal, who with only Jim Blythe to beat, the birthday boy shaved the outside rather than the inside of the far post. Dalglish was also central as Graham Souness sent a stinging long-range drive from way outside of the penalty area that swerved and dipped, forcing Blythe into a fantastic save as he fingertipped the shot over his crossbar. 4-0 flattered a lacklustre Coventry City, who were 2 goals down inside of 13 minutes, and they were never allowed to recover. If Sammy Lee's free kick goal on 13 minutes owed a huge amount to the luck of a deflection that left Blythe flat-footed and completely stranded, the Reds' first goal 8 minutes earlier was an absolute footballing gem. 5 players were involved in the move that started from a stumble in their own half of the pitch by Ronnie Whelan and ended via a sweeping move down the left wing involving Alan Kennedy, the goal scorer Graham Souness, Ian Rush and the persistence, again, of Kenny Dalglish. The Scotsman's eventual final pass split a dishevelled Coventry defence for Terry McDermott to set up one of Graham Souness's typically fierce and low drives, and as was so beautifully often, it nestled perfectly in the corner of the visitors' net. The 2-goal advantage became 3 on 34 minutes after another brilliant 1-2 pass between Sammy Lee and the birthday boy Phil Neal, who skipped a desperate defensive tackle before squaring the pass across the 6-yard line into the path of Ian Rush, and the Welshman simply couldn't miss. Terry McDermott's 64th minute penalty was a rather tepid, almost missed kick that found the back of Blythe's net, but the plaudits should be reserved for the winner of the penalty award, Kenny Dalglish. On his backside and surrounded by a melee of 4 Coventry defenders, Danny Thomas, Paul Dyson, Steve Jacobs and Jim Hagan, Dalglish manages to get to his feet, retain possession of the ball and skip an intricate left-right foot double touch of the ball through all 4 players, drawing a crude tackle from Hagan and leaving his goalkeeper to gently tap Dalglish on the top of the head in appreciation for his outstanding individual skill, and the goalkeeper's wry smile was perhaps a perfect summation for the entire contest. The Reds were simply too good. This result 40 years ago left the visiting Blues of Coventry City in 18th place in Division 1 and just 4 places and 4 points from the relegation zone. The end of season league table suggests they had a brilliant run from here on in, as they more than doubled their points tally to finish on 50 points, in 14th position and way clear of a relegated Middlesbrough team who ended their season with a 0-0 draw at home to the new champions of the English First Division, Liverpool. The draw was immaterial as the Reds were crowned champions 3 days earlier after 3-1 defeat of Tottenham Hotspur, and a season that ended with Liverpool winning 14 out of the remaining 18 league fixtures, drawing 3 and losing just 1 from this game onward. In doing so, they overhauled early season pace setters Southampton, then newly promoted Swansea City, fiercest rivals Manchester United, and then finally this season's nemesis, Ipswich Town, to lift the ultimate prize in English football, the First Division Championship. And that was volume 22 of the Liverpool Football Club, the Retro Series, in support of my self-published book, Chasing the Impossible and the Sword of Damocles. It's a book I'm immensely proud of. It's the best book on Liverpool Football Club you're never going to read, but go on, treat yourself. It's only Christmas. Go on, treat yourself. You deserve it. Go on, treat yourself. I'll leave you in peace and in solidarity. And I'll thank you sincerely for watching. Thank you so, so much. Please be careful out there, everyone. Please buy my book. Go on, treat yourself. Peace.